Well, the stock market's raging, and the traders all shout. There's one man we're watching, his moves full clout. Some call him evil, some call him foul, but I just smile and call him Daddy Powell. Will Jerome Powell nuke the market again? With a flick of his wrist, make fortunes disappear in the wind. Wall Street to jungle, lions on the prowl, but the king of the jungle is old Daddy Powell. Oh, Daddy Powell, oh, Daddy Powell, every single time. It's like a fucking roller coaster ride. It's gonna be a crazy week, so hold on tight. Oh, Daddy Powell, don't bring me down. The numbers are flying, red, ink, and green. For some it's a nightmare, for others a dream. Degens are crying, theories disavow. Oh, bending the knee to mighty Daddy Powell. Oh, Daddy Powell, oh, Daddy Powell, every single time. It's like a fucking roller coaster ride. It's gonna be a crazy week, so hold on tight. Oh, Daddy Powell, don't bring me down. The bulls and the bears are locked in a fight. Who knows if we'll feast or starve come the night? With a glance at the screen, I let out a howl when I see that old motherfucker, old Daddy Powell. Oh, Daddy Powell, oh, Daddy Powell, every single time. It's like a fucking roller coaster ride. It's gonna be a crazy week, so hold on tight. Oh, Daddy Powell, don't bring me down.
Dude, what an absolute bop we got going this morning. What an absolutely phenomenal way to kick off a specialty episode of the Matt Kors Show. I'm Matt, your Kors, and together we are, in fact, Velvet Kors. Folks, it's not just a normal Wednesday. It's not a normal Wednesday, January the 29th. It is an FOMC interest rate decision day. It is the first Fed fund meeting that we are having with the new president, and this is really just two heavyweights are going to be going at it in the ring today. In one corner, we have the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and in the other corner, we have the chairman of the Federal Reserve, aka Daddy Powell. Folks, it's going to be a good one today. here's what's going to happen. Not only are we going to take a little bit of a breather this morning and really just sink back and internalize some smooth jazz, but we're also going to be talking about some political drama going on. We have some market updates. I want everyone to get prepped up for the morning session and for the afternoon session. I do suggest thinking of today as two completely different trading days. And then we have some individual equity updates. I want to talk about ASML. I want to talk about BABA, and I want to talk about DJT, Trump's own company, DJT, Trump Media and Technology Group, just had a big announcement this morning, up quite a bit in pre-market trading. So we're going to get into all of that. I have a DeepSeek update for you. More and more information is coming out about DeepSeek, so I feel like that's important to share. And then from there, it's just basically going to be a watch party. Like I said, we're going to be watching this morning session, and then we're going to be doing another specialty stream this afternoon just before 2 p.m. Eastern, because that's when the Fed fund rate comes out. So folks, if you're in here right now being like, all right, when's the Fed fund rate come out? The answer is 2 p.m. Eastern. Jerome Powell speaks at 2:30, so it's all in the afternoon. So we're going to be doing basically two completely different shows today. The normal morning prep, talking about the overall market, the levels of support, resistance, individual equities, political drama, and then this afternoon, whole different secondary stream. We are going to be getting into just Powell and the market and the absurd reaction that we are most likely going to have. So I hope that sounds good to you. I hope you guys are ready. Piper's right here. She's already ready. She's already getting into nap mode. So we are ready to absolutely rip it this morning. I hope you had a good day yesterday. I hope you had a very profitable day yesterday. And I hope you are ready to ideally make even more moolah, a little bit of dinero, so you can afford that, taking your wife, your mistress, and all your other girlfriends to Texas Roadhouse this weekend. So I hope that sounds like a plan. If you haven't already, I know it's annoying to remind you, but it does really help me out. So I would, if you enjoy this effort that the team and I put in every single day, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, share the show with a friend. Obviously, it's 100% free. It would very, very, very much help us out. So with that being said, let's get rocking. Let's get rolling. When I got up this morning around 6 or whatever, things were looking pretty good, especially in the tech sector right here. I mean, look at that high we made at 645. And then all of a sudden around 7 a.m., it started to sell, and then 8 a.m. got really bad. We're getting a little bit of a reversionary bounce right now, but a tale of, I don't know, depending on when you got up, you might have a different opinion of how the overall market's looking. With that being said, ASML is looking great, had phenomenal earnings, up 5.6%. We have a specialty announcement from DJT, up 11, almost 12% in pre-market trading. And then also BABA had earnings last night, had an announcement of their own related to the world of AI, up 3%. So those are the hot movers as of this morning. Just want to put that on your radar in case you want to start checking those out. But we do have some other things to get into first. Stock futures are little changed as investors await Federal Reserve's interest rate decision. Remember, vol is going to stay pretty high and pretty stable all the way up to 2 p.m., 2:30 today. So for any of you engaging in options, especially if you're selling premium, you're not going to get much of a collapse in the early part of the day. I just want to throw that out there as a friendly reminder to everyone. Very quickly, with all the political stuff, Trump administration offering buyouts to nearly all federal workers. The Trump administration is offering millions of federal workers the option to accept buyouts through a government-wide, quote-unquote, deferred resignation program. It is estimated that this could save in the realm of $100 billion. The offer comes as President Donald Trump's administration pushes federal employees to return to the office 5 days per week. It's basically come back to the office, and if not, just take this resignation option. The White House expects up to 10% of federal employees to take the buyout, an office told the NBC News. And I did get the $100 billion number. I just want to show it to you so you guys know I'm not making it up, but I don't see it on my first scroll through. So you might want to fact check me on that one, but that's the current estimated number. This whole, I guess, movement right now is causing a bit of confusion. Trump buyouts, as in the federal employees, and spending freezes are wreaking havoc across government. There's just a bit of confusion right now. The missive was the latest blow to the department and agency workers that spent much of the day furiously trying to interpret a sweeping order freezing federal grants and loans. The memo, and a subsequent clarification document issued by the Office of Management and Budget, said that the benefits enjoyed by individual Americans wouldn't be impacted. But a lack of clarity or specificity wreaked havoc across critical programs and partnerships, with the status of potentially billions of dollars in payouts left uncertain. A federal judge yesterday, Tuesday, issued a temporary stay blocking the move, but the mere threat of the freeze rippled across federal workers, state and local governments, and prominent nonprofit organizations, afraid funding for vital services could be revoked. So it's two different things of kind of a similar story, but there is quite a bit of confusion going on right now, especially on this federal level. Obviously, the loans, these grants, right now in the short term, a little bit of chaos, a decent amount of chaos in all reality. Deepening the concern was the perception that the move was the opening volley in a coming constitutional fight over Congress's power of the purse, testing whether Trump can follow through on his long-held desire to personally control spending. So right now in the world of federal workers, federal employees, I just want to call this out. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of confusion. So in the short term, this is probably something to pay attention to if there are any related updates. Also, with what's going on with Trump, I know the hot news is Trump and Greenland, and we talk about it as a national security thing, also a commerce thing of do we control the shipping ways, especially as the ice continues to melt, and then Greenland itself has a lot of precious hard and soft metals that we use in many aspects of technology right now. So we know there's quite a bit of rhetoric between the current president and basically saying, hey, we want to be in control of the Greenland territory. And I want you guys to know, even though Greenland has its own autonomous, democratically elected government, they are currently owned by Denmark. So once again, they are autonomous. They have their own government, but from a legal perspective, they are owned by Denmark. So want to throw that out there. And we know coming into the office, there were some just almost seemingly grandiose statements from the now president of, hey, we want Greenland and we want control of the Panama Canal. Now, the Panama Canal, there's less information out there about what's going on and maybe like what's bothering them. Obviously, another important shipping route. If you look at the commonality between Greenland and Panama, what's going on, it seems to be like almost a secondary or tertiary way to fight with China controlling maritime shipping routes. Obviously, we have an important one up north, and there's also like a safety concern up there just because of its proximity to various Russian locations in terms of their own military bases, but also a lot of shipping routes. Obviously, that's also what's going on with the Panama Canal. For those of you who need a very quick history lesson, in the early 1900s, the U.S. built the Panama Canal. In the 1970s, even though we had full control of it, that was the trade-off. We'll build it, but then it's also legally ours, and we controlled that little swath of land right there. In the 1970s, Jimmy Carter, for whatever reason, decided to give it back to the country of Panama. And then ever since December 31st of 1999, Panama has been in full control and ownership of it. So basically, right at the start of the new millennia, Panama took control. This is another thing where Trump, his major quote on this is, yeah, we know that Panama's controlling it, but there's kind of a little bit of confusion and hesitancy and some rhetoric around, but it's actually being worked by a lot of these Chinese companies. So once again, the commonality between the two is coming back to maritime shipping routes, and Trump is seemingly fighting back against China. So just want to throw that out there, give you a little bit of a recap of this situation. With Panama Canal, U.S. tensions rising, all options on the table, warns Trump's top maritime official. So President Donald Trump's newly appointed head of Federal Maritime Commission didn't even know that was a thing, said no bid contract gave China an unfair advantage at the Panama Canal and nearby ports, and reports that Chinese companies are getting canal tolls refunded are alarming. So you're seeing that this is what it's all about. It's a maritime issue between the U.S. and China. That's the main thing going on between Greenland and Panama. I would say Greenland's a little bit more serious because there's also those national security concerns, not only with China, but also with Russia. Trump has threatened to reassert U.S. control over the canal, a threat categorically rejected by Panama's government. At a Senate hearing on Tuesday about trade and security issues at the canal, several Republican senators voiced support for an aggressive U.S. stance. The FOMC had said that the U.S. can issue substantial daily fines to Panamanian government and then bar Panamanian flag vessels from calling at U.S. ports, and finds that Panama's laws or practices are harmful to U.S. shipping. So this is one of those things where I don't think at the end of the day that the U.S. is going to end up having full control over Greenland or the Panama Canal. But I think what Trump is attempting to do is come in really brash. It's just a classic negotiating tactic. Come in really brash, bombastic, like super hard and heavy. And then you end up negotiating and coming to a compromise in the middle, which is probably what he wants. I would assume that Greenland is going to keep its autonomy, and we're going to sign some sort of pact that we get to do what from a military perspective for security. And then from there, we'll probably sign business ties related to the minerals. When it comes to Panama, it's probably going to be like, yeah, no, you own it, you control it, but you better be contracting out U.S. companies to help with the daily running of it. That's where I'm going to assume this is all going to settle, but it's going to take time. So just want to throw that on your radar. The Fed meets for the first time since Trump's term started. Here's what to expect. Chaos. That's what you should expect. So for those of you who don't know, every so often we have a Federal Open Market Committee meeting, an FOMC meeting. This is where the voting members of the Fed get together and they say, hey, what should we do with the Fed fund rate? These meetings are technically 2 days long. They start on Tuesdays, they conclude on Wednesdays. We get the result at 2 p.m. So at 2 p.m., we're going to get the Fed interest rate decision along with the FOMC statement. That comes out at 14 o'clock. Then 30 minutes past that, at 2:30 p.m., the chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, is going to get up there in his blue suit and he's going to answer a bunch of questions after giving his prepared remarks. That's where the market's really going to go crazy. So just so you guys know, you can go to the Fed Watch tool right here by the CME Group, CMEgroup.com, and you can understand where the market is betting on this. And as of now, the current Fed fund rate, which has a huge impact on the entire fixed income market, but more specifically the 2-year yield and thus bond, we are currently sitting at 4.25%. There's a 99.5% chance that we remain unchanged. We are not getting a Fed rate cut or hike today. Why that's a big deal? Even though we're predicting that this is going to happen, it's a big deal because 5-6 days ago, President Trump was saying, hey, I'm going to demand that the Federal Reserve brings rates down. But the market is saying, no, we're not seeing that. So obviously, with that type of a disconnect, you can just unknown certainty, some crazy stuff going on there. So that's going to be the major thing of the day. And that's all in the afternoon. Many of us have been together for many of these statements. So I do want to throw out to all of you, think of today as 2 separate trading days. There's everything going up to 2 p.m. and then everything happening after 2 p.m. Really, in your mind, I do find it most helpful to think of it as 2 completely independent trading days. I do want to remind you that tomorrow, the ECB, the European Central Bank, basically akin to our own Fed, they're going to have their interest rate decision. We're also going to get our GDP report and then the normal initial jobless claims. That's all tomorrow morning. And then Friday morning to conclude the week and the month, we're going to be getting another inflation report, a very important one. If according to the Fed, they actually care more about the PCE inflation report than they do the CPI. So that does come out Friday. We're also in earnings season. So this morning, ASML reported, as you can see on the chart right here. Where's my ASML? Where is it? It's up pretty decently, up about 6% in pre-market trading. The numbers were pretty solid. ASML shares jumped 9% as surge in order defies fears of DeepSeek hitting AI chip demand. So across the board, the numbers were good. This is a Dutch company, but it does trade on the US market. They beat on sales and they also beat on profit. So that's pretty good. And then the CEO followed up. ASML CEO sees low-cost AI models like DeepSeek driving more demand, not less. Talking about that economic paradox, the Jevons paradox, as if efficiency increase, consumption doesn't decrease. It actually goes higher. I fully agree with that, which is exactly why I bought the dip on Monday. So ASML reported, BABA reported after the market closed yesterday, and just to show you what's going on there, also looking pretty strong in pre-market, currently up 3%. Alibaba touts new AI model superior to DeepSeek and Meta. So they came out kind of out of left field saying, hey, no, we're actually really crushing it. So clearly the market enjoying that. Now, I do want to remind you, even though during the trading day, we're going to have craziness from the Fed and the market's reaction to the Fed, after the market closes today, Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, IBM, and Lam Research. I know there's a lot of interest, especially in these top 3. Pay attention. Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, all reporting after the market closes today. Then tomorrow, after the market closes, even though we have GDP and whatnot in the morning, after the market closes tomorrow, we get really the leader of the market right now, Apple, Intel, Visa, but obviously a lot of eyes on Apple. So want to share that. Now, even though I wanted to set you up there, I don't get what's going on with mainstream media. This is a legitimate article posted by CNBC this morning. Tesla investors want Elon Musk to answer questions about Salute and also his role in Trump White House. Let's pretend the ending of this headline did not exist. Of course, we all want to know what's going on with Elon and DOGE and his ties to Trump. That's obvious. Let's just take the first part of this. Tesla investors want Elon Musk to answer questions about Salute. That's not true. I don't think anyone with a room temperature IQ or above really thinks that Elon Musk was engaging in a Nazi salute. It's an awkward guy who we all clearly know suffers from autism. diagnosed autistic. He saw that the crowd was giving a response and he said, my heart goes to you. If we truly held all public figures and politicians accountable for putting their arm up and then saying, yo, that's exactly what like Hitler would do, they would all be out of a job. They would all be out of a job. This was clearly nothing to do with it. If you actually had any knowledge or true respect for what happened in World War II, if you had any true knowledge or respect for what's going on with actual neo-Nazis in the US right now, and if you think Elon is in any way saying, I'm part of that group, I agree with that group, you're actually fucking retarded. Like truly, by the actual definition, you are retarded if you think Elon was in any way doing a Nazi salute. A lot of people say intent doesn't matter. How the fuck does it not matter? That's all that matters in this. And I'm just so sick and tired of people truly just, they see one thing and they want to run with it. If you want to hate on Elon, great, but you should hate on him for like a legitimate reason and not this, because you sound like a fucking moron. Truly, if you're going to die on this hill, if you want to be a martyr of, oh, he did it. Okay, then you should feel the exact same of, I don't know, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, AOC, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, the list goes on and on and on. Because as you're doing so many different public engagements and speaking, you end up putting your arm up like that to say hi, to do whatever, to say the exact same thing that Elon did. My heart goes out to you. And it's not just in the US. Do you know how many world leaders, prime ministers, presidents would be in this exact same bucket? So, like I said, if you want to die on this hill, I just say be consistent. Be absolutely consistent. I'm not defending anything. See, this is the issue. Is there's dumb motherfuckers like Dark Knight. It's not defending anything. It's just saying use your fucking brain. Like, if you're going to attack Elon and there's things to attack Elon for, this is clearly not it. Clearly not fucking it. And yet there's just so many stupid people. Honestly, this idea of like, oh, they won. What do you think is going to happen? Someone's going to question about it and he's going to be like, yeah, no, Heil Hitler. You think that's how it's going to go? Honestly, if you fall into this category of like, yeah, we want these questions answered, you are literally too stupid to engage in the stock market. You should not be trading anyway. You should not be in control of your own financial decisions because you don't have enough neurons in your brain firing to actually figure out what's going on here. This is the most idiotic fucking thing ever. And you have these halfwits, like there's some literally in chat right now who are like, oh, defending it. No, it's called using common fucking sense. Like, how stupid are people? They are absolutely so fucking dumb that it's scary that they're in our society with us. That anyone is like, oh, Hitler salute. Like you're actually the reason why Elon's as popular as he is. You are the reason Trump got elected into office because so many normal people not on the fucking fringes of society are saying, we've had enough of this. This is so completely idiotic. So I get it. You guys probably need your safe space. I already see you guys in chat. There's a small amount of you. You need a safe place. If you give me your address, I'll send you one of those adult helmets because honestly, I'm afraid if you lose any more of your neurons. So please give me your address. I'll send you an adult helmet. We're going to get you in your safe place and it'll be okay. It'll be okay. But then for the rest of us actually engaging in normal society, we're going to go on with our life because we realize that this doesn't fucking matter. How fucking stupid can people be? I ask that question a lot, and yet every single day it blows my mind. So this actually came out between Musk and Trump. I just asked Elon Musk and SpaceX to go get the two brave astronauts who have been virtually abandoned in space by the Biden administration. They have been waiting for many months on the space station. Elon will soon be on his way. Hopefully all will be safe. Good luck, Elon. So Elon, stepping up. I don't understand how you could dislike that, but obviously many people do. Big announcement from Trump came out literally at 8:30 this morning. Trump Media Group to launch fintech brand TruthFi. Trump Media Group to invest $250 million in SMAS, ETFs, and crypto. So obviously on that news, I gave you guys a little bit of a sneak peek this morning, but DJT up about 12%. from this news of Trump Media Group. Trump Media shares surge after announcing expansion into financial services, including crypto and ETFs. I actually think that's a very smart move. I think it's a very shrewd move because if you stay with just Truth Social, exclusively that, there's too much competition with X, with Twitter, and I don't see how that would play out, especially with the relationship between Trump and Elon. So the fact that they're getting more into financial services, specifically leaning into crypto, it's a smart move. It does give the company a much better chance at success. So wanted to share all of that. DOGE is saving the federal government approximately $1 billion per day right now. I didn't say million, I said billion with a B. One more time. DOGE is saving the federal government $1 billion per day, mostly from stopping the hiring of people into unnecessary positions, deletion of DEI, and stopping improper payments to foreign organizations, all consistent with the president's executive orders. A good start, though. This number needs to increase to $3 billion a day as their goal. Already, we are not even at the end of January, and they're saving $1 billion a day. What was it? The latest thing that they found yesterday, what was it? $30 million going to, what was it? Hamas for condoms? Like, as soon as people actually have access to see where a government's pissing away money, absolutely insane. I'm already running behind because I had that rant. So we do have some things to go over, but let me just get this all ready. Obviously, Wait, what just... Sorry, I heard the alert go off. I thought that was the market opening. It's just the NASDAQ recovering. My bad. Sue me. Google employees petition for job security ahead of expected cuts. So Google getting a little bit antsy. The major thing I'm waiting for Google is when are they going to finally update it from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? It's about time we reclaim some of these waterway names. So silly. All right, DeepSeek update, pretty important. U.S. Navy bans use of DeepSeek due to security and ethical concerns. So I covered this on the first day of the DeepSeek news, that it's in their terms of service that they are tracking everything. If you're on DeepSeek, they are tracking your keystrokes and much other additional information that we know all these tech giants are doing it. It's just one thing of, okay, is it the Chinese government storing it or is it a U.S. government member storing it? So U.S. Navy literally banning it. But then it got a little bit crazier. This was reported by the Financial Times. OpenAI, Sam Altman's OpenAI associated with Microsoft, says it has found evidence that Chinese artificial intelligence startup DeepSeek used the U.S. company's proprietary models to train its own open source competitor as concerns grow and better performance on smaller models. So this is what caused the market to have havoc. And now people are starting to say, I don't think this was necessarily all above board. I've said this multiple times. Check out all the update videos that something very suspect was going on here. And this might be the suspect thing, that maybe what they pulled off wasn't as just mega mind giga chad work as we thought. Maybe they just stole something and then slightly improved it. Microsoft probing if DeepSeek linked group improperly obtained OpenAI data. So we already know that they improperly obtained the H100s from Nvidia, the data center chips, and they're like, look, we just did it on GPUs, good for gaming. No, we know that they somehow broke some of these trade rules and got chips they were not supposed to have. That's a definitive. Now we're almost wondering if the training of the model was also a bit of stolen information.
Microsoft and OpenAI are investigating whether Chinese AI startup DeepSeek obtained unauthorized data output from OpenAI technology. For more, we're joined by Robert Lee, senior analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence, who's been tracking all of this for us. How significant, Rob, in your view, is this development?
Okay, well, the thing that really surprised the markets and also, tech companies in the US over the last week or so has been DeepSeek's disclosure in a paper they published in their website that the training costs on one of the latest iterations of their model was as low as, or just under $6 million US. So that's approximately, 50 or so times less than the big US tech platforms. That's what's caused the upset. But today's breaking news, and obviously, the US is the leader in global AI at the moment. DeepSeek's been name-checked by the president. The US doesn't want, any country or any company, especially a company coming out of China, eating its lunch. So there's been a great deal of scrutiny on these, this claim of $6 million cost. I think, as I've said previously to you, our knee-jerk reaction is we know there is no reason to fundamentally question what DeepSeek is doing, but have they been cutting corners? OpenAI does allow developers to access their models to use in their external apps for a fee. So the allegation is that DeepSeek has been doing this to cut corners and potentially boosting the performance of its model. Again, this is an allegation at the moment, but obviously it's been taken very seriously at the very highest levels of government in the US.
Yeah, certainly. We're hearing that from members of course.
All right. You basically get the skinny there. I see some people saying, you don't understand it. It's open source. Yeah, I get what they pulled off is verifiable. The question is how they got there. No one is questioning the technological results of basically what they're screaming they pulled off. We know what they pulled off is technically accurate. The question is how did they pull it off? And the narrative might not be as straightforward as we originally thought, or most people right away sensed a little bit of bullshit. Very quickly, if you guys want to sign up for Locals, it's free, 100% free. Just become a member and you get this newsletter every single weekend to your email inbox. I break down the previous week, set you up for the upcoming week. Excuse me, all the earnings. I highlight the ones I think you're going to care most about. Then I tell you all the major macroeconomic events. For example, 2 p.m. Fed interest rate decision, 2:30 Fed Chair Powell speech, and then I set you up for the next day and the next day. I give you the individual seasonality of each trading day. Historically, over the past 27 years, this day, Wednesday, January the 29th, has been favored by the bulls. The bulls have won it 59% of the time with a profit factor of 1.87. The bias is clearly bullish. And here's a look at the hypothetical equity curve you would have if you bought at open, sold at close on the S&P 500 futures market for this individual day over the past almost 3 decades. So it's not the most bullish day we've ever seen, but this day does favor the bulls. So just something to throw out there. Tomorrow, it is leaning slightly bearish. And then on Friday, it's leaning a little bit more bullish. So once again, mattcoors.locals.com. That's for membership. If you want to be a premium member, aka supporter, which you can do for free by applying this promo code Goonie, it is pinned to the top of chat. It's in the description of the video. You'll also then be able to access the Goonie Trading Discord. Is it worth it? I would say so. Yesterday, I personally made $2.6 thousand on my real-time called out trades. Here's how it went down. Basically around 10:15, Piper, my chief investment officer, was bullish with a 4 out of 5 confidence, recommending a SPY and a Q put credit spread. Obviously, those both hit because we needed the day to end above 597 on the SPY and above 511 on the Qs. Those both hit. The minimum capital requirement was $360, returning $40. So that was a nice return. Obviously, you could scale it up to your heart's desire. This was just the minimum requirement. I executed the trade via SPX just so I didn't get margin called. There's no risk of pin risk on SPX versus SPY. So I had 40 of them, sold at 65 each. And if you do the math, that is a return of $2,600, which means this one trade, if you agreed with it, you could have paid for more than 4 years of the service. I truly believe once you get into the Discord, you're going to realize that it does provide way more value than the actual cost, especially for the fact that the first month is free anyway. So you could test drive it for a month and see if it is for you. That is pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video, and my mod will be dropping that into chat. Just make sure to apply that promo code Goonie. If you have any issues whatsoever connecting to the Discord after becoming a member, or excuse me, a supporter, just so you know, you can find the Discord right here. You could click that giant button, or you could come to the second pinned message and click the link. If you have any issues, email me, media@matthewcoors.com. That's me personally, or DM me on Discord, MMK147. Once again, I will personally help you. All right. Now, with that all being done, the market is already open. How did I miss things? Dingity, ding, ding, ding. Welcome to the world's largest casino. Oh, golly. What is this open? Play responsibly, and if not, have fun. But what are we doing here, folks? What are we doing? All right, we are rocking, we are rolling, and it looks like we got around 928. Around 928. 2 minutes ago, we were dancing around at yesterday's high on the NASDAQ, and right out of the gate for the past 5 minutes straight, we are selling. Right now, we just don't have that much data for the options market. I'll switch over to the 5 second just so you can see it a little bit more clearly. We went up a little bit, down a little bit. We went straight down on the Mag 7. So this is only a couple minutes worth of data. It's only 3 minutes worth of data, but there is a bit of selling there. I do want to let you know, Captain Condor is back, and back with a vengeance. Captain Condor is basically saying we will close out the day below 6,100 and above 6,025. Once again, below 6,100, about 3,000 contracts, and above 6,025. Those are the two levels that Captain Condor is playing. I think that this guy's a wild man for doing it on an FOMC day, but hey, to each their own. I laid out the other key levels for you, so feel free to screenshot this. Feel free to write it down, but I'm looking at the S&P 500 itself. First upside target based on the options levels and the gamma levels, delta, influence, previous technical levels. These are the key levels to watch today. First upside target, 6,075. Next is just above 6,100. Downside target would be just below 6,025. And then below that, you have 6,000. Now, in the event that the market reacts very, very well to the FOMC decision and Jerome Powell's speech, we have an extra upside target of 6,150. So these are the key levels that I will personally be watching on the S&P 500 today. So like I said, feel free to write them down. Feel free to screenshot them. Feel free to do whatever you need to. Very quickly, as we're waiting for this opening session to play out, there is an upside gap fill on the SPY to just below 607. There's an upside gap fill on the Qs to 528. Obviously, the SPY one's a bit closer. DJT had a huge jump up on the announcement this morning. Nvidia had a good day yesterday, giving a bit of it back right now. Meta hit a new all-time high. I'm either waiting for this breakout or the breakdown of yesterday's high or low. Palantir had a phenomenal day yesterday. Upside gap fill. Looking forward to take out 82. Broadcom going to be going the same way as Nvidia most likely. ASML had very good earnings. I thought that this earnings is actually going to set the entire semiconductor industry a bit higher, but maybe people are nervous about the FOMC meeting. Microsoft had a great day yesterday, giving a bit back now, but look for this breakout of 447.50. Apple also had a great day. Look forward to recapture this, basically the high 230s. When it comes to Tesla, reports after the market closes today. So for me, I'm just watching it today. No trades from me personally on that. I don't want to play right before earnings. Qualcomm also stalling out. Rumble having a little bit of green right now. I like that it's holding the trend line. Coins up a bit. MSTR not doing as much. Netflix almost on the verge of breaking out. So very quick breakdown of what's going on some of the daily chart stuff. But in reality, we just got to be patient. ASML getting a nice pop right there. Nice pop on ASML. DJT is also looking pretty decent. Nvidia getting a nice pop. So I would love this. We might be running back yesterday's. Honestly, this might be the exact same playbook of yesterday. A quick little early morning dip for whatever the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, kind of retesting not only the previous day's high, but the previous day's close, push slightly red, and then it finds support and we bounce right off of it. That's exactly what happened yesterday. So we're going to see. We're going to see. Hang on. Little bit of consolidation right there. Big difference between the 0 DTE and the longer expiration. Generally you don't see a delta this big. So the 0 DT is holding steady while the delta for all expiration got hit. That's interesting. The Mag 7 dropping all day right now. From the opening, I mean, we're only 7 minutes in. We're only 7 minutes in. Nvidia dancing around. DJT. DJT is the biggest gainer on my watch list, followed by ASML. DJT is currently up 9%. ASML is up 5%. We're seeing the SPY continue to show weakness. It's had weakness since pre-market, but what I'm really looking for is, first of all, I do find this differential interesting. I don't know what happened in the longer duration. Basically, why would it do that? Someone bought these longer duration puts. So puts are currently being purchased. Calls are currently flat. People are not selling calls, but they are buying puts on the SPY at this moment. And then with respect to the Mag 7, you have calls being sold and puts now just being purchased. So that is not the best way to start off a day by any means. By no means do we want to be starting a day off like this. All right. Let me check one thing. All right. Is this a little bit of an opportunity? Delta's still looking pretty heavy. I'm seeing price come up obviously a little bit, which I find interesting, but DJT getting hit a bit more right now. ASML looking decent. Broadcom trying to swing it back around. Microsoft sold, now flat. Apple is picking up. Apple's showing a bit of intraday strength. What are we doing? All right. Remember, the white solid line on my charts is the previous day's close. So basically, if we're below it, we're in the red territory. If we're above it, we're in the green territory. So right now, obviously, the Q and the SPY are red because we're below the white. And then even up here, the SPY at 604.43. So kind of interesting. The SPY opened up below its close from yesterday, while the Qs open above. Obviously, since market open, both have been hit. And we're seeing that directly play out in the options market. Actually, the Mag 7 is continuing to get hit. So for me, I already got myself into a stupid position. I am long one NASDAQ contract right now. So that was from hours ago. But I am looking to get myself out of the pain situation I'm currently in. So I might need to dollar cost average down, but I'm just waiting to do that. I need to see a little bit more strength. And obviously, if things get and stay as bad as they currently are, I'll just cut the position and just take my L on the day. Someone's commenting AMD. How's AMD doing? It's not doing anything. It's almost perfectly flat. Oh, SPY catching a little bit of a bid right here. Are we seeing anything? Okay. Little bit of a dramatic sell-off until 937. Double bottom here. And now we're seeing a bit of enthusiasm come back. Let's see if there's actually much to it. My nervousness about going long right now is the fact that the NASDAQ, really the Mag 7, really the combo of Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla are not in any way showing any life. Let's go back to these key levels. We're not really near one. Obviously, 6,050 might end up being... Yeah, it is a 50 EMA on SPX. It might just be a key psychological level. With the respective options, there's not the most going on there, but maybe people are going to just react to this $50 increment, just throw some buys in there, a little bit of dip buying. That's totally possible, 6,050. So I'll be watching that, but I'm not being convinced quite yet to buy this dip just because I'm not seeing anything in the tech flow. If anything, tech is flowing the exact opposite way. And I just find that you very much increase the probabilities of you being successful if you're not only trading with the price trend, which it just got smacked right there. Jesus. Wow. Someone just dumped something. Someone just dumped a lot of calls. A lot of calls just got sold. Let's see if we can figure out who it was. Was it Apple? It was not Apple. Was it Microsoft? It was maybe a little bit of Microsoft. Was it Nvidia? Yeah, Nvidia. A lot of calls just got dumped on Nvidia, and it is not necessarily slowing down, but you could see it right here. Big chunk of calls. That's a lot of positive delta being removed from the system, and it's actually still going as I speak. And now that's even prompting some people to buy some puts, adding some negative delta. So you're removing positive delta, adding negative delta. That is a double whammy to the downside. And I assume Nvidia, the stock is reacting as you would expect. That kind of came out of nowhere. Nvidia. What about Broadcom? Is a similar? Yeah, is it SMH as a whole? Yeah, there's some bets, positive bets being removed from the system as it comes to semiconductors. That's what just happened. Was it seems to be bullish bets being removed from the semiconductors. A little bit of bearish bets being added in. Hang on. AMD maybe recovering a little bit. It's recovering better than Nvidia right now. DJT, even though it's up, it is being walked down. ASML got hit out of the gate. It's trying to hold steady, a nice 5.8% gain. Broadcom is in the green, but Nvidia is down 3%. That is not good. Yeah, this shit's getting walked down and walked down pretty aggressively. Pretty aggressively. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Since market open, really before market open, you could see it more clearly here. It was around 7 a.m. that the bearishness started. We were looking pretty good up until 7 a.m., but the 5-minute is lower highs and lower lows, 10-minute in the bearish territory, 30-minute is even now potentially breaking. Right there at 9, it tried to get back. At 9:30, it tried to get back in the positive, but it was clearly smacked both times. The 5-minute down, 10-minute down, 30-minute is now even potentially breaking down on the NASDAQ. So this is, if you're looking for that reversionary bounce, we're kind of getting to that moment where you want this a little bit higher. Let's see if we could use, let me reload this. I want to just see where some of these key levels are of what in the world is going on. All right, here's price. We are at support now. There is a bit of gamma support right here. If this snaps, be careful because it could be a quick $25 flush, but we are currently sitting at support. So not the worst, like I wouldn't be just taking a random stab at it, but if I saw positive options flow come in here, I'd be interested, but it looks like it did just get snapped. Maybe, I don't know. Let's just watch maybe this trend line setup, something like that. Maybe on a trend line breakout with it being confirmed on options flow picking up. That'd be interesting because I see option support right here, roughly around 47.5, around 50, watching this trend line. And then what the final thing you need is for options to actually pick up. So they're starting to pick up on the S&P 500 right here, starting to. But I'm still not seeing much love in the Mag 7. Right here, semiconductors got hit pretty freaking hard at 941. So just kind of letting this play out here. I'll put it on this chart. All right, there's that trend line. Interested in watching that. And then a similar situation on the Qs. Obviously, lower highs, lower lows. Since market open, clearly the bears have been in control. But then again, it's a crazy FOMC day. We're only 50 minutes into the day. I am by no means saying today is going to be a bearish day. I'm just literally commenting on what we have thus far. What I would be looking for is to see if the 30-minute can recapture this recent high, because that would put the 30-minute back in the green, and then ideally the 5 and the 10 would also go green. And then same situation here. The NQ, we have 13 minutes to go, but it actually might be breaking down. Don't like that. So I'd be looking for this recovery above 21,606 to get back in there. And then obviously the 5 and the 10 would also be pushing green at that point. So the first thing I'm checking is the price trend. The 5-minute and the 10-minute clearly bearish. The 5-minute and the 10-minute clearly bearish. So okay, that's not the best, but we are at support of option support. That's kind of interesting. I'm showing it to you right here. Remember, the teal is it's going to be reactive, while the purple, unless it's very large, the purple is more so passive. So you kind of, like butter, cut through the smaller purple ones, but if it's a big purple one, that's more like cold butter. And then teal is straight up, like look for either a bounce or a rejection, especially when it's big. So I'm looking for this, and it's coming in at a psychological level. So I'm watching these two areas to actually be support, like literally where we are right now. I'm looking for ideally this 945 low to be the actual low of like whatever this current sell-off is. So I'll be watching this. I'll be watching this trend line to see if we can recapture, basically to see if this happens. But the sign that you're really getting, that you're like, okay, I'm confident, or it's going to dramatically increase your chances of that bounce, is you're going to want to see the options flow pick up. And when I say that, I'm really referring to the delta. And right now you could see the delta's down and down and down, delta's down and down and down. So if I were to be really choosy, I would actually want the 0 DTE calls to pick up, which are these green candles. I would want to see those pop up because that's bullish bets for today individually. I would also like it if puts got closed out. Wouldn't be complaining about that. And right now, we actually might right here be witnessing the start of a little bounce. not enough, but just to comment on how it would look, basically you would have the candles going to the upside. That means the delta in the option structure is getting more positive. And right now, we got a little bit of a bounce at 945, not much. It looks like the thing that's really dominating how the option structure looks today is the fact that semiconductors got absolutely smashed at 941. Absolutely smashed at 941. So I am watching this. And then I guess just from, if you're a technical trader, you might want to be looking at this bull channel if we can get above and like really pop from there. I think the SPY gets exciting if it could recapture 603.50. And I think the Qs get exciting if they could recapture 521.50. So that's just some levels, the things running through my mind. ASML is now flat. Nvidia tried to pop, got hit a little bit more. Nvidia was definitely one of the victims of this Mag 7 smash. So, I mean, we saw even this now. What is going on here? What in the world? What in tarnation? Yeah, there was just a lot of calls were taken off at 941. It wasn't big bearish bets, but there was a big removal of bullish bets, which I'm the reason I'm pointing that out is because in my mind, there's a big difference between pure bearish aggression and lack of bullish aggression. In my mind, those, like, it's good to know what people are doing. Are they putting their money where their mouth is and saying, no, it's going to go down? Or are they more bullish saying, hey, like, we're fine where we're at right now and we're just taking the play off the table? So in this particular circumstance, we're actually in the latter case. We are in the case where the bulls just took bets off the table. So what I'm looking for is for new bulls or maybe the same bulls to put fresh bets on the table. That would be the delta going up from the call side. And I would also love it if the bears throw in the towel with their bearish bets. So I want to see bearish bets removed and bullish bets added, because thus far this morning, all we've really seen is bullish bets be removed, if that makes sense. So watching this trend line, trying to be patient for that sniper-esque opportunity. We're watching Nvidia. Apple was having a pretty decent day. It's given, Microsoft's now getting hit too. Broadcom's kind of going though. A little bit of a mixed bag. DJT, nice recovery right there. Bounced off 32.50 up 10%. The SPY and the Qs are both retesting right now. Nvidia is not looking the best. The Mag 7 is actually at almost a delta low reading of the day. I see the SPY's trying to pick up. It did put in this low at 945 and it's fighting, except it's not making much headway because the flow on Mag 7 is not looking the best. Not looking the best. What about directly? Okay, but the Qs are picking up. This is interesting. You don't see this too often. Let me add this. So people are really starting to bet on specifically QQQ. Like they're increasing their underlying bet for QQQ. But when it comes to the Mag 7, not so much, which is interesting because there's such a giant overlap between the Mag 7 and the Qs. But the bets are telling us wildly different things. So this might be enough excitement. Look at the Qs are popping off in real time. And even the SPY starting to pick up, but then the big tech players are not looking so good. So keep this in mind. I'm going to keep bouncing back because clearly right here, it also got smashed at 941. But since then it popped up, put in a higher low, and now in real time, this might be that reversal. Hopefully this gives enough enthusiasm for the Mag 7 to not look like such dog shit. And then I would love for the SPY to keep going. It's kind of a lethargic bounce right now, but it's just what we are getting from the market. Oh, man, I could take a stab at one long right here and then just risk the intraday low, which is how many points? It's about 30 points. All right. I'll take a stab at it.
Order submitted. Order filled.
I got to fill at 540, 21,540.25. Actually, let me write that down. Long. What was it? What did I say? 540.25. I'm just writing that down because now I have two positions. So I'm taking a stab at it. I'm seeing I'm seeing a little bit of life in the Mag 7. We're seeing more life in the S&P 500, but we're actually seeing the most life in the Qs, which these are very volatile. And actually, I just got it, and now it's seemingly turning against me, which doesn't make me feel the best at all. Maybe, oh, wait, what did I just see? The Mag 7 took a bigger hit right there. Interesting to see that, but I was attempting to pair that together with this trend line breakout, well-defined risk at the 950 low. But in my mind, even though I have well-defined risk, I hope I don't even have to consider that. If anything, I would want to see that return to that test of the 521.50 on the Qs that I told you about. And then also right here, the 603.50 that I called out on the SPY is exactly where it got rejected. What is going on with the flow? The flow turned on me. The flow turned on me. All right, you know what? We're going to open up 3 of these today. All right, so this is the whole overall S&P 500 complex, the SPX, SPY, XSP, and the ES. That's what this delta flow is. This is exclusively QQQ. It's not including also like NDX or NQ. And then this, whoa. This is the Mag 7, which has not been looking so good, but I'm hoping that this is the bottom right here. We're trying to pick the bottom. Not my favorite way to trade. I prefer to just pull a little pullback and go with the overall trend. I'm not really the biggest fan of trying to pick the bottom. It worked for me yesterday. Maybe I could be a little bit more lucky today. But I'm also identifying this support right here. Shout out to Gexbox, making it very obvious that this giant teal bar at 6,050 is support. So we're seeing how this will go. Maybe that little trend line breakout. Ideally, a little retracement all the way up to 6,061, which would be the exact same as the SPY at 604. So this high, this intraday high on SPX at 6,061 is equivalent to 604 on SPY. I'm just hoping that there's actually truly enough support at 6,050. I can see that it's there right now, but that doesn't really necessarily tell you much about how these players are going to react. They can choose to add to their position and make it stronger. They can choose to pull away from it. I mean, obviously, they can choose to do literally whatever they want. But I do see some support right in this region. But when you identify support, that's not a guarantee that it's going to hold. Not a guarantee in the slightest. The Mag 7 is still flat. The Qs had a huge pop up until 952. Now we're coming back down. The SPY is slowly but surely grinding up, which actually makes me more confident in this support holding. I know that the price action doesn't look that good. I fully understand. In fact, it actually looks kind of crappy, but the options market is telling us something different. The options market from 945 till now is telling us that people are slowly and surely buying calls and also simultaneously slowly and surely getting out of puts. Not anything dramatic, but we are seeing a little bit more bullish aggression and a little less bearish aggression in the S&P 500 complex. Now, the NASDAQ or the Qs, I should say, I want to be specific here, are a completely, I don't know, this is what happens when you give the stock market ketamine or something. I don't know. This is all messy, and good luck deciphering that. It was looking good. I mean, look how much of a mess this is. People bought calls, they dumped puts, they bought puts, longer duration, they bought calls, sold calls, bought calls. Like, it feels like a drunk monkey is actively trading the Qs right now. Actively, like, so good luck deciphering that one. And then the Mag 7 is just doing absolutely nothing. So working to pair some things together, it does seem like a nice support base is currently being formed right here, showing you this off. Oh, and if we do bounce, the natural target, the first target would be 6,070. The next target would be 6,080, just like kind of calling that out. But we do have decent support right here. Looks like the SPY's trying to bring us back upward. So this might have ended up being a pretty nice call out. We'll see. We'll see. We could throw on some VWAP, I suppose. The Qs are getting less of a bid. The SPY tried to get going. Looks like that second attempt at the 603.50. So the SPY got going a little bit more, but now, unfortunately, the NASDAQ is breaking it down. So you have the SPY, a little bit more confidence there, but then there's less confidence in the Qs. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, look at that. The NASDAQ still, but a big pop. Hang on. Is this the bottom we were looking for? Is this the old bottom we were looking for? It was getting hit, and now we're seeing a little bit of life. The question is it a dead cat bounce? Are people going to buy those? Oh, the Mag 7 is pretty much at a delta low. That's not good. This is why it's so crappy to be trying to pick the turning points, because, yeah, you could be like, yeah, it looks like it's bottoming, but the dip might keep on dipping. That's why I'd prefer more of trading with that overall trend. I would prefer it, but we'll see. Right now, the Qs are basically range bound. You could argue that they've been range bound for pretty much the entire trading session in all reality. We had a little bit of a steep sell-off for the first 5 minutes, and since then, more range bound, a little bit of a hit, and then just really overall range bound. The Qs have been exhibiting more of a potential V-shaped reversal. Both are currently holding the trend line breakout that came at 951, so that's a little optimistic. Once again, pairing that with, we just know that there's pretty strong support. I will be worried if this support disappears. This support is literally coming from current open interest. So if those option players decide to drop their position, that could actually really cause this to fall. And if it does fall, we might be talking about 6025, which also happens to perfectly align with where Captain Condor has his bottom. This is the put credit spread from Captain Condor. So watching these things play out, the Qs look lethargic as the SPY is trying to bounce. I'm seeing Nvidia continue to get hit. So not the biggest fan of that. DJT's trying to get going again. ASML is up 5%. Broadcom's up 1.3. I suppose maybe a short-term watch is for the SPY to take out, oh, literally as I'm doing it. Hey, question. I hope I'm not interrupting your day. Has anyone noticed that there's, as of this morning, issues with setting the alert on SPY, or like any alerts on TradingView? I don't know why I said SPY, I guess because I was looking at the SPY. But see, what I did was, like, it just didn't turn on. Like, I put the horizontal line there, and then I'll redo the prop. Oop, what did I just do? To exit full screen. All right. Get me out. Okay. Sorry about that. And now see how it just loaded? Like, it was gray as in if it was inactive. And now it works. So right here, I just have the line. And then generally, if you add an alert, you create it, and it should go blue right away as if it's active, but it's showing that it's inactive. Is anyone else having that issue, or is it just me? Did I do something wrong? It's like a problem I'm noticing just as of this morning. I'm having that issue too. Yes, my alerts are taking forever to apply. Just worked for me. It works after a bit. Okay, the SPY is actually still going. Generally then, when I move it like that, it would okay, so that one worked that time. It seems to be a very like hit or miss thing. I'm actually finding it like kind of confusing. Like even that turned it on, but then when I first did it, let me try it again, it was just taking forever. So maybe, see, that one didn't turn on. See how it's still gray? But then the other ones were. Something is seemingly a bit weird. I'm not quite following what's happening here. Yeah, see, it's not turning on. Oh, the other thing I noticed is I downloaded the newest Chrome, and now this is a completely different color. If you've seen my streams from a week ago, not only did I have blue on my charts, but the border was blue. Like right here, let's just say like this watch list and this pane, like basically the entire border of my actual screen and the watch list. And now it's this dark color. Please, this is like legitimately driving my OCD crazy. Does anyone know how to fix this? Does spit on it? Thank you, Ollie. I'll give that a whirl after the stream. But does anyone know how to change this color? Because I got a Chrome update, and then the Chrome themes changed. And now, even though my charts have the same blue they used to have, it was the same blue over here, and now it's just like way darker. It's like now a dark gray. Switch to Brave. That's how they control the worms. Bad news, China hacked me. Well, if they hack me, take my info, but at least give me the same colors. They just updated that. I'm tired of everyone updating shit. I like the colors I had. Dude, why do they do this? They're doing it to knock me off my fucking game. That's why they're doing it. It's TradingView, not Chrome. Well, then it should be easy. But because like when I do the settings thing, the settings, all these colors are just for the actual trading charts. And the only thing I see for this border color is right here. It's just either dark theme or light theme. But when I switch that, like, why don't they let you customize that? I think they're legitimately screwing with me. All right. Let's get our alerts going, if the alerts ever work. So I'm just battling TradingView right now. The alerts are kind of working, but they're kind of not, and the color's definitely messed up. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? Tried it like 18 times. All right, so clearly we got that trend line breakout. The question is, how far is it going to go, or is it a dead cat bounce? Let's once again review the Mag 7 Delta. I'm not liking it. It's almost at the lowest reading of the day. We're just not seeing enthusiasm there. The Qs themselves, though, are attempting to pick back up. They had a big pop, big vomit, and attempting to pick back up. And then potentially the most influential in the short term is this nice uptick in the S&P 500, which, I mean, that's just a beautiful recovery, which is exactly why we saw this beautiful recovery in the SPY. And the fact that the Qs are a little bit more suspect and the Mag 7's a little bit more suspect exactly explains why right here the Qs are a bit more suspect relative to the SPY. So my bet, my hope was that the Qs were going to follow suit with the SPY and start making an attempt at going to the intraday high. And they still might, but as of right now, we are just so obviously range bound. We are, I would dare I say it, painfully range bound. We're just waiting for basically a recapture of the close from yesterday, roughly 522, or a breakdown of the intraday low at 520. So we're kind of stuck in this $2 range. And I know that's a wild range to be stuck in. It seems very large, but it's an FOMC day. This is exactly what happened last FOMC day. So it's just where we are. I'll keep monitoring this because I think if we do get this nice recovery and the Qs all of a sudden shoot up to 522.50, 523, what we're going to see is bullish aggression in the Mag 7 bets, and that'll probably be following like perfectly in suit with bullish aggression in the Qs. We are getting the bullish aggression in the SPY, but it's very specific to the SPY. We're just not seeing it in the Qs right now. So I took a shot at it, hoping that more bullish aggression would come through as soon as we saw a little bit. Like I got in right here around 9:51. I was like, oh, okay, like we're going to get going. And I looked smart for a second, and then all of a sudden I looked pretty freaking dumb. And that's just, I guess, where we're at. That's where we're at. That's how trading goes, folks. Sometimes you go from looking like a genius to looking like a dipshit. And I find with my trading, it's much more of the latter case for me personally. But anyway, looking for, really, I just want to see the Qs back above 522. And I would love to see the SPY. Well, it's about to take out this local high. Let's just move this back up to 604, which would actually be... that's going to bring us to this 661, which actually, this is going to set up the interesting play to hit yesterday's close. It's not a guarantee, but it's a high odds play. When you see strength, look at the movement to the previous day's closing value. Basically, the red to green test. That's a high odds play. I'm not here saying it's guaranteed, but if you do it with proper risk management, with proper sizing, that is a net profitable trade, playing the overall indices to the previous day's close. So that clearly already happened on the Qs. You could have done that out of the gate, and now you might be able to play it the opposite way on the SPY or SPX. So on SPX, it would be up to 67.7, and on the SPY, it would be up to, I don't even know, whatever... it would be up to 604.43. So you might be setting up with the play there. Once again, it is a profitable trade, but it's not something you just throw your whole account at and you do it with no risk management. Of course, there's no guarantee. So you have to consider unlucky variance, and you have to consider the fact that things go crazy. They go absolutely crazy. We're seeing a continuation to the, let me switch to the 30 second, continue to the nice delta push, but we're actually not at a new delta high. We're kind of tied with it right here from market open. So we're trying to, the 0DT delta just got positive again. The all expiration delta is still in the negative territory. Let me go to the 30 on this just to see it a bit better. The Q's seemingly drunk. The Mag 7 is maybe attempting to bottom again. I thought it was bottoming before. That was my first attempt to go long. Then it got sold. It looks like it might be bottoming now, but the last time I did it, I was still very, very wrong. So Maybe this is the time I'm right. Maybe this is the time I'm wrong. The SPY just made a new intraday high just now at 10:07. The Qs are nowhere close to it, and it's probably because players like Nvidia are getting slaughtered. Come on, dude. The tech is obviously like holding us back today. The overall market's trying to get going. I would assume, let's find out what the hot sectors are. Yeah. So here's what we have. Tech is weak. Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, Tesla, Amazon, all red, while the whole reverse L here is nice and green. So you have the rest of the S&P 500 basically trying to undo the dog shit of a situation that tech is currently giving us. So that's currently the TLDR. A little bit more of bullish apprehension, if you will, or bearish strength in the tech sector, while the rest of the world is trying to undo the sell-off in tech at the moment. Right now, oddly enough, even though intraday it looks completely different, the SPY and the Qs are perfectly tied. They're both slightly red on the day to the tune of like 0.07%. So even though the intraday action looks completely different and the options action does look wildly different, percentage from yesterday's close to right now, they are effectively the exact same. So what I'm hoping is some big bullish bets come in on the semiconductors, on things like Nvidia, AMD. Oh, AMD's going. Okay, maybe that's the start of what we need. Broadcom's even going. So there's unique semiconductor weakness to Nvidia. The other ones are actually showing a bit of life. ASML, not bearish, but not bullish. It's holding its nice 5.7% gain. That's interesting. SMH as a whole. SMH is trying to recover. It's honestly would have recovered better if Nvidia wasn't just getting so hit. Remember that player sold a ton of calls this morning. How's Soxel doing? Soxel up a nice 3% right now. Soxel. The SPY, we're going to do this. All right, the alerts seem to be a bit more reactive right now. Mag 7, maybe a little bit of a curl. I know I'm just like picking up the smallest nuances, but it's at least better than this huge hit we took at 941. So maybe a secondary base. The Qs right now maybe showing a little bit of life, a little bit of range bound, but the S&P 500 is long and strong ever since 945. Ever since that first 15-minute opening range, this has just been long and strong. I say that, and the first thing that happens when I flip back over to the charts is a hit. Just my luck. All right, let's go to the 3-minute. Let's clean up these charts a little bit, and then we'll do support and resistance review. Nvidia. Nvidia. Come on, Nvidia. If Nvidia can just pick up for us. Broadcom, Palantir, Meta, Apple. Apple's going. Apple's actually looking real nice. Looks like it wants to retest that. What was it? 238, 239 breakout from yesterday. Obviously broke out, but got smacked. Looks like Apple's trying to retest. So if Apple keeps going, that's going to be good for Google. Or excuse me, I don't know. It'll be good for Google. It'll be good for the Qs. Microsoft took a big hit this morning, but at least now it's based. Broadcom. Whoa. What is this hit on the SPY? Someone is dumping on the SPY right now, and they're aggressively dumping. And it's not one side. It's a little bit of call selling and a little bit of put buying. That's price is dramatically overreacting. What is this? I see prices going nuts, but options are not, folks. Like, yeah, granted, options are going down, but look at the size of this comparatively. What the fuck is happening here? Is this just a brutal fake out? I mean, I see that price went down, but I'm just here to tell you, options did not react the way you thought they would. I'm going to be watching the next one. Like, is this just a straight up like V recovery, people buying at a cheaper price? But this was, I mean, look at it. Options are already bouncing right back. Options are actually going nuts for the way back. What the fuck happened on price? That seemed like a very dramatic overreaction in price. Because even the 0DTE options already bounced back. Look at that. You just had all these put players covered right into that. So people who have been inputs, right? These 0DT puts, look at, they're taking their money. They use that drop right there to lock in their money. And the calls, granted, calls aren't coming in yet, but if calls start coming back in, I think this just right away recovers. That was very, very strange. An outsized reaction in price movement relative to what we're actually seeing in true options flow, because they just monetize those. I mean, I'm showing you right here, 0DT puts, they pop. That means they locked in their money. Longer duration puts also same thing. Calls, yeah, they did sell a little bit, but now they're flat. So if you see the green candle start to pop again, I think we're just going to bounce right back up. I think just a brutal fake out, a very brutal fake out. But time will tell. Nvidia is still being a huge problem today. Every time I look over at Nvidia, I keep thinking of the Vince Vaughn. What's it? Is it The Breakup, where he's like, "You're the problem." But I don't know. I don't know what the future beholds, but I'm telling you that this little 5-minute sell-off, the options market did not agree with it whatsoever. I would not be chasing it to the downside unless I saw options also agree with it. But I mean, right here, look at options did dump, but quickly bounced. I mean, the 0DT, it was only a minute that it was down there, and it was so outsized to it. I think that was just more of a fake out. I do. And once again, this alert is not working. Not freaking working, which that is an important alert for me to have successfully working. It would make me feel quite a bit better if it did it. Nvidia is the problem today. Even Broadcom's now starting to go down. Is Apple still holding us up? Apple's doing everything. Generally, Apple's screwing me over and going the opposite way, but this is one of those rare days where even Microsoft's picking up a little bit right now. DJT's up 10%, not doing much intraday. ASML is starting to show some life right here. All right, look for obviously the SPY to recover above 604. Look for the Qs to recover above 521.50. Really 522 I would prefer, but there was a little bit of a freak out here between 10:10 and 10:12. This 3 minutes of just, I don't know. Welcome to FOMC days, folks. That's the only thing I could tell you. These types of insane movements seem to happen quite a bit more on these ridiculous days. Price is coming down a little bit here. Is the delta? I'm worried about the delta peaking again, because the price is already suspect. If the delta actually does truly vomit, then the sell-off could obviously be real, and then we have like some sort of multi-dollar hit. But right now, the delta does seem, seemingly it's trying to hold. Maybe I should put this over here so I can see it out of the corner of my eye, just in case. It seems like we have a quick moving situation. Qs are looking a little bit suspect, but they've been suspect. Like the whole market tried to get the Qs to recover, and they just couldn't. Someone's hitting the Qs literally as we speak. QQQ. It's just, what do we have? Selling calls and buying puts. The old double whammy on QQQ. Mag 7 trying to hold steady. QQQ, I feel like this gives a lot of false signals. It's just so choppy. It's so messy. What are we doing here? SPX. All right, we're coming back up to support at 6052. We got a fake out breakout of this intraday high, which also happened to be the opening minute. Nice recovery that took about, 25 minutes, and then got smacked right there. Right there. All right, I at least have the alerts on. A lot of the problem today, well, if you're bearish, you love it because Nvidia is being bearish, and this seems to be the major ticker holding the world down. how does Nvidia specifically look? Dude, they are just clobbering Nvidia all day. Not only is price going down, they are just smashing it. So this, we might not have a real shot at a bounce until this just stops. And I do want to clarify, I'm talking about just the first half of the day. The second half of the day is just going to be completely dominated by what is or isn't said at the FOMC meeting. I want to be very clear about that. So I'm really talking about before 2 p.m. But before 2 p.m., I mean, I'm right here. This is a tough thing for Nvidia to fight. Granted, the ones for this Friday are not moving much, but the all duration, there's just an immense amount of call selling just all day. And then especially at 9:41, call selling, a little bit of a pop. But now you're even getting that put buying. So there's a huge amount of call selling at 9:41. And then starting it right at that time, people slowly but surely have been buying longer duration puts. So just this delta just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. It's just dropping so consistently. It's just getting so beat up. So for the Qs to turn around, you're going to want to see Nvidia price not only go up, but you're going to want to see the options go up. And then if that were to happen, which is a giant if, like we live in the world of if-then statements, then, see how much the SPY is trying to fight? The SPY is really trying to get going. The overall market truly is. It's just the tech sector is holding it back, and specifically it's Nvidia holding it back today. So if you're looking for that reversal, I mean, SPY is trying to go, Apple's trying to go, Microsoft even stopped its own selling. Like the real bearish culprit at this point is Nvidia, which means I think for us to notice if there's going to be a bounce or not, it comes down to the Nvidia options flow. If this bleeding can stop, then the bulls have a shot. But until then, we're just kind of watching it because they haven't stopped at all today. They have not given it 1 second. So consistent, just boom, boom, like they're just nailing it. So that's what we have to watch for. Seems to be the major situation. Everything else is getting primed up though. Everything else truly is getting primed up. It wants to move to the upside. The overall system wants to move to the upside. It's just too much negative delta is being added, and also too much positive delta is being removed from the tech sector. And this one, the bottom right of your screen, seems to be the major culprit. Look at that. Every single time it tries to get going, Nvidia is just holding it back. Every single freaking time. Even this price is going down. Guess what's being untouched? The SPY is being untouched. The options are fine on the SPY. They're not worried about it at all. Price is going down. Options are perfectly fine. It's Nvidia making another delta low of the day. That's the name of the game right now. Well, at least up till 2 p.m. After 2 p.m., it's just more of how lucky are you or aren't you? How do you think the markets are going to react? So that's where we're at. As we're waiting to see if we get a bounce here, maybe it's a double bottom on Nvidia, or maybe we are just going for a horrific breakdown. I don't know. Questions, comments, concerns. This is the perfect time as we're kind of just waiting to see how things play out. Oh, as you're please send your questions in. I do want to give a quick shout out to today's stream sponsor, Take Profit Trader. As I'm trading on all those prop accounts, right now Take Profit Trader has the best offer, 40% off, and they no longer have a daily drawdown rule. So no daily loss limit, which is phenomenal, makes it easier for you, and you can get 40% off. Out of the entire SIM-to-funded future space, this is currently the best offer. So if you're looking to trade this today, but you don't want to risk your own money, this is your opportunity. So I wanted to call it out today, not only because it is the best deal, but as a way for you to minimize your degenerate trading throughout the day today. So don't forget to use that code Goonie to actually get the 40% off. When you're signing out, there's a little coupon section. To get the discount, you have to put in Goonie. And I also want to let you know, they no longer have a daily drawdown limit rule. So it's going to make your trading easier. But on wild days like today, this is when you want to basically lower your risk. You obviously should be attempting to lower your overall risk. And I find that sim-to-funded trading is one phenomenal way to do it. Pinned to the top of chat, in the description of the video. Don't forget to use that code Goonie. Don't forget to use that code Goonie. Matt, where do babies come from? I think giant storks. Maybe normal sized storks. I don't know. A stork of some sort. How do you use Take Profit Trader? Well, when you sign up, it'll go through the process, but you basically create an account. and then connect that to your brokerage, and then you trade through that brokerage. Most people use NinjaTrader. Tesla earnings come out today. That is correct. More. Pharma has sponsored MSM for decades without MSN. I don't think many countries, I think we are like one of maybe the only or a few that allow pharmaceutical companies to be doing TV sponsorships. It blows my mind. Hopefully Trump will jump into the ring. I think he will be. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. All right. I told you it looked like it was a bit of a bounce opportunity because options did not care. Options, they took that hit in stride. That's what, when you're trying to buy a dip and you're like, wow, price seems weird, and options are holding steady, that's a great time to buy the dip, folks. Now, granted, it was far better for the SPY than it was for the Qs because the Qs are having what we'll refer to as the Nvidia problem. And Nvidia is showing no signs of life today because I guess the people playing it are a bunch of pussies already getting out of their calls and they're ruining the game for everyone else. So the Qs clearly have the Nvidia problem, but the SPY is attempting to go. The issue here is a lot of things in the SPY are also in the Qs, and obviously they have slightly different weightings, but the other aspects of the SPY are really trying to pop off right now. And the reason they're not is because the Qs are weak. And the reason the Qs are weak is because semiconductors are weak. And the reason semiconductors are weak is specifically because of Nvidia. I mean, ASML is doing what it can. Broadcom is doing what it can. Nvidia is clearly the weak player. And then to show you the options, it's just getting hit. We've been trading now for almost an entire hour, and there has not been like one little breather for Nvidia. Has not found a breather. So if you are looking for a bullish play, whether it's on the SPY or on the Qs or on semiconductors or specifically Nvidia, what those all seemingly hinge on is whoever all these call sellers are and the put buyers against Nvidia, both are forcing the delta to go farther and farther into the negative territory. You're just looking for this trend to stop. You really are, which I truly thought it would stop by now, but it's just not. Like, I mean, we've been here for an entire hour and it's just getting fucking eaten alive. Absolutely eaten alive. So we're just kind of awkwardly waiting. And now even that the SPY tried to recover, it's just, this is the major issue right here. This fucker. I mean, to the point that the Qs might be potentially breaking down again. I mean, this Nvidia just hit a new intraday low. Look how horrendous this flow is. A new delta reading too. A new low delta reading, that is. Fuck, dude. Fucking Nvidia. It's just fucking everything up today. It truly, truly is. It's just fucking this all up, dude. Who knows? I'm complaining about it now by the end of the day because of the FOMC meeting. It could just undo everything and we rip, or it could actually make it completely worse. I mean, if you look at the last FOMC day, you know that we just had an absolutely horrific sell-off. Absolutely horrific sell-off. So whatever's going on in the market right now, it's just people are like absolutely dunking on Nvidia. It's just being walked down like no other, and it's stopping everything else from going. Like, that's how bad this is. I mean, right? I don't know how else to show it. Like, it's just getting absolutely destroyed. Absolutely murked right now. All right, I will mark out this low. We'll mark out the reversionary high on the SPY. The Qs just hit a new intraday low. And it's all because of this right here. So that is the current trend. And I don't know if I'd be tracing this trend at this point to the downside because it's already been so persistent that you're kind of late to the party. If you wanted to, on an intraday basis, trace Nvidia down, it was probably like somewhere either here where it got smacked at 957 or on this failed bounce, so closer to 1012. Now, chasing things at the daily low is generally not a smart idea. Of course it can work for you, but you're also inherently taking on the most risk possible. When you buy breakouts or short breakdowns, you are mathematically taking on the most risk possible because you're at the extreme of whatever that particular time frame is. So it is definitely looking weak. So had I had a bearish position, I would just be riding it right now, but I wouldn't be entering into a new one. So remember, I find that there's quite a bit of confusion about this in the retail space. Just because something looks bullish or bearish or is trending in a bullish or bearish manner, whether with price, with options, with both, that doesn't mean it's necessarily a good time to create a position. Entering into a position is not like, you consider very different things than the current trend. Obviously, you want to be entering with the trend, but you also have to be considering your risks. So even though something is trending down, like using Nvidia as an example, obviously the highs are lower, the lows are lower, and options are hitting it. So the trend from an options perspective and from a price perspective are down. That is the trend. It's a strong bearish trend, at least for this particular time frame, talking about the intraday action. But that does not mean that you should be chasing it to the downside right now, because not only for entries do you want to identify that trend, which, yes, albeit is bearish, you also have to consider your risk. And if you're going short at the low of the day, you're, by any mathematical definition, you are taking on the most risk possible. So you don't want to be, you want to be trading with the trend, but you want to be taking ideally on little risk. You don't want to be optimizing at all for max risk. So just wanted to point that out to everyone, or I guess just give a little bit of reasoning, as like my positions are so dramatically in pain right now. I've been bullish ever since really last week, and then I doubled and tripled down on Monday. So my positions are currently taking a beating, but the purpose of my positions has nothing to do with this session from 9:30 to 2. My positions have much more to do with the market's reaction from 2 to 4. And then we have the GDP tomorrow and the inflation report on Friday. That's really what my positions are for, not this particular period. This isn't like, yeah, it is a trading session, but the 9:30 to 2, I would feel better if it was going in my way. Obviously, I would love if we were up 2% right now. That I think goes without saying. I would feel far more comfortable. But really, even if we were good or not, like whether bullish or bearish up till 2, I knew I was holding through 2 anyway. So this is more of like just a psychology thing of like, am I comfortable or not? What's your plan for FOMC? Are you buying calls or puts? If you're just randomly deciding to buy calls or puts right now, day of, with no plan, I don't think you should be trading it. You should not. I think you need more of a developed plan. Dude, why does this not? I just can't get there. Why do I have to switch the most random things for these alerts to work? Potential little reversionary bounce. This could be a bit of a liquidity sweep. The Q's just barely made a new intraday low. It could be just a dead cat bounce though, and we could get smashed. So it could be a fake out for those bears who chased it and they chased it inappropriately, or we could literally just be getting smashed. And right now, the fact that Nvidia still looks like trash, it is not looking so good in the short term. I mean, I'm just not seeing, I'm seeing no bull step in on Nvidia at all. It's just continued bearishness all day since market open. It's been an entire hour of just Nvidia getting destroyed while the SPY's trying to get going. I mean, look at this discrepancy right now. Price got hit. Options are still holding on the SPY. The SPY wants to be bullish. It's just, it's getting really messed up by Nvidia. And even the Mag 7, the other Mag 7 players, not as good as the SPY. They don't look as bullish as this option setup. But once again, even just the Mag 7 right here, I have it highlighted. What's dragging it down is specifically Nvidia, which means for us to have more of a granular view of whether to be bullish or bearish or what to do, you just got to watch this options flow. You got to watch that options flow. And really, I guess I could set an alert to know if we're getting a new low on Nvidia, because that seems to be driving everything right now, or a potential reversal. I would love to see it above 125. Okay, cool. So we're at that support again of 6,050. We've called that out multiple times. And fortunately for the bulls here, that is still big support. The issue is we now have big resistance at 6,060. So we are it seems like every 10 points we either have support or resistance. So we're just seeing a really consolidated range, which is probably to be expected as we, why is this not doing what I want it to do on an FOMC day? But yeah, price, I mean, we've gone from 47 up to 62 down to 49. Like, it's just, this is now going to be resistance. This is going to be support. And then we have additional support at 6,040. So here we are. 50 is now support because we're above it. 40 is support. And now 60 is resistance. So like literally every 10 point increment, we have some sort of potential reaction. Also, I mean, I guess if you want to try to play a potential reversal, the price breakout I would be looking at is right here on the screen, basically connecting the intraday high to the high at 1024. So that would be the price movement I'm looking for, but I would want to ensure that options movement is also going up. And really, to increase your odds, you would want Nvidia to stop getting its teeth kicked in. That's what you would really, really be looking for, is for Nvidia to stop this absolute bloodbath of a situation, which maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but Nvidia is just getting murdered, which I'm laughing about it because my only other option would be to cry because I have a bunch of Nvidia calls right now. So I'm not laughing at you if you're bullish on Nvidia. I'm nervously laughing because I have a lot of calls. So that is what we're going for. My kid is homesick, so I'm not able to trade, but what time do we expect to hear from Powell? Are you streaming it? Yes, as I always do, and it's always 2 p.m. It's always 2 p.m. for the announcement, and then Jerome Powell speaks at 2:30. That doesn't really ever change. I'm sure there's been like random examples of it changing in the past, but the most common case is 2 p.m. Eastern. It's always on Wednesdays. Like they don't really alter that. What do we have here? Nvidia has too much influence. We probably wouldn't be arguing that if it was going in the way. Like, I think that is like a biased thing. If you were currently bearish, you would be loving how much influence Nvidia has. So to me, that's just, we always bemoan the things that aren't like particularly supporting us at that moment in time. Like, trust me, if Nvidia was ripping right now, you'd be like, dude, I love this. I absolutely love this. Are you playing the news? I am, but not from new positions. I'm playing it from positions I've had for like pretty much over a week now. So I'm not playing the news, but I'm holding previously created positions through the news, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not doing anything specific for it because when you have these types of binary events, when you have some sort of big announcement or update and the market either skyrockets or gets like absolutely murdered, you have a 50-50 shot. The risk reward's just not there. And I see a similar thing when people do it with unemployment. I see a similar thing when people try to do it with earnings. It's just, why not do something where you have better odds than 50-50? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It truly does not make sense to me. I think there's more, even if you want to play those binary events, I think more interesting ways to do it is related to volatility, whether you think the volatility is overstated or understated, but just to have a linear position of like, I think it goes up, I think it goes down. I think you're wasting your time. I really do. I think you are truly wasting your time because you could be spending more of your effort learning more profitable, higher likelihood strategies and systems rather than just sitting there and being like, I hope it works. Like, it's just, I don't get that. People just directly betting on earnings, whether bullish or bearish, people directly betting on FOMC, unemployment, any of those things. Why? What's the point? Like, the chance of you having some sort of predictive model that has positive expected value is pretty much fucking zero. So why do it? Why do it whatsoever? Oh, look at that. Nvidia just made a fresh low. Surprise, surprise. Apple is doing its best to unwind this Nvidia sell-off, but it's just the size of it is too much. Like, Apple, remember, Apple, Microsoft, where's Microsoft? Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia are the three big guys. And right now, granted, for Apple, and generally goes together, Apple is trying to currently undo this negative movement in Nvidia. Microsoft is part of the reason we sold off because both Nvidia and Microsoft got hit this morning. But at least Microsoft, it's no longer selling off. It's actually chart, like it wants to curl to the upside, but that's why I currently have Apple up here as well, because this is currently the world's biggest company. So if Apple keeps going up, we have a shot, but I am worried. What happens if Nvidia keeps going down and then Apple turns? What if all the Apple buyers like leave the system? I'm going to be worried. But right now, we have one giant company shooting to the upside. We have another giant company shooting to the downside. The SPYs left in limbo. The Qs are a little bit more hit because early this morning, the Microsoft also got hit. But I very much want Apple to keep going, and I would love for Nvidia to turn around. That's going to give the bulls a shot. Unfortunately, Nvidia is just getting destroyed. This is nonstop. I don't know if of course I have seen it, but I don't know the last time I recall such persistent selling all day on an individual equity. Obviously it has happened. This isn't some sort of like outlier move. I mean, Nvidia is down 4%, which is big for Nvidia, but it's like not the craziest thing. But man, it's just so perfect all day, just selling calls, buying puts, selling calls, buying puts. Look at this. The blue lines going down are people buying puts, and then the orange line going down is people selling longer duration calls. Not many people are touching calls for this Friday. It is going down a little bit, but that probably it's just probably not where the largest open interest was anyway to begin with. But look at this. The two bottom ones are the concerning ones because that's the longer duration stuff. It also includes this Friday's, but includes all expiration. Just people buying puts, selling calls. So the net delta is just absolutely diving. It is just nose diving. And when you have the delta nose diving, the market makers have to hedge that position by shorting the underlying. Now, they could do that by getting into puts. They could do it with some ratio of the NASDAQ, or they could just go literally short the underlying. So they have a couple things at their disposal to hedge out their books. But this is why it's getting forced down. It's getting forced down because the market makers are forcing it down because that's how they hedge their books. When you have this much negative movement, negative delta movement in the options market, it's just getting slaughtered. It's not, see, as the delta keeps dropping, price is going to the downside because market makers have to hedge out their books by shorting the underlying or do something that has a very similar impact as shorting the underlying. As they are selling more calls to people trying to buy calls, and as they are losing their positive delta hedge from too many people getting out of calls, this is just going to short it down. They hedged the calls that they were long, that they sold to someone who was long, by being long the underlying. So they're getting rid of those long hedges, and then they're buying shorts to hedge all those puts being purchased. So it's not just one side being dumped right now. It's actually like a twofer. People are they're getting out of longs and they're getting into shorts. And when I say they, I'm referring to the market makers who basically were all the premium writers for these positions. So as this delta goes down, just to give a better technical explanation of what the fuck we see, that's why it's so dramatic, because they are getting rid of longs and they are getting into shorts. So it's not like they're just getting rid of longs and going neutral. It's not like they're just going from neutral, getting into shorts. They're doing the complete opposite. They're going from long positions to short positions, once again, to hedge out their book. And it's just so persistent. And you can see that in the price action. And it's as persistent in price action as it is in the delta flow. It's just wild. Apple, at least Apple is attempting to undo it. Apple from open had a nice 1.6% pop, while Nvidia is down 2.8, 2.5, 2.8. So Apple is doing what it can to stop this bleed, but percentage-wise, obviously, Nvidia's is a bit freaking worse. It is a bit worse. And it is just not stopping, dude. We've gone from 126 down to 123. I do want to clarify that this could be completely wiped away by the end of the day. That's how impactful these FOMC announcements and the Jerome Powell speech is. But it also could be made like 3 times worse percentage-wise. So like it's a high vol thing. Like I wouldn't sit here and confidently be bullish or bearish. All I could tell you is the real-time data, and the real-time data is telling us that the options market is not the most stoked about Nvidia. It is not the most stoked about Nvidia at all. Yep. And we're seeing a potential range breakdown on the Qs. The Qs try to pop here. Obviously, big SPAC at 1024. You know what else got smacked at 1024? Nvidia. That actually is where Nvidia got pushed to a new intraday low. And now that Nvidia is continuing to dive, see how Nvidia is diving and Apple stopped its trip to the upside? That's exactly why the net situation is the SPY and the Qs both being hit, just because Apple was seemingly the one thing stopping. Fuck, dude. I am getting manhandled today. I'm getting absolutely fucking manhandled today. I hate these days so fucking much. So fucking much. I abhor these days. Wow. Nvidia is just getting its fucking teeth kicked in. Absolutely just getting destroyed. It's just nonstop. Look at, boom. People are buying puts, selling calls. The delta's dropping like no other. Market makers hedge by going short, getting rid of longs, and then surprise, surprise, price drops. And then the one thing that was keeping the SPY and the Qs alive was Apple, and now even Apple stopped moving. So you don't have that. Yeah. No one's really being bearish on SPY plays. The price is going down because of the net impact of what Nvidia is doing. I mean, I could show you this right here. The options popped in the S&P 500 complex, and they're going flat. Price is clearly overreacting in the SPY, but the issue here is specifically the Mag 7, which is just getting its fucking nuts kicked in. Getting absolutely murdered on that. Wow. Fuck. This is crazy. Apple, I mean, it's put up a valiant fight. It's done what it could do. And it's attempting to stop this bleed for us, but it just, we're almost asking too much of it to be able to undo this like bloodbath in Nvidia. Q's made a fresh low, and the SPY almost made a fresh low. Almost. Yeah, the SPY, it's holding flat. It's trying to do what it can, but when the Mag 7 keeps getting pushed down. Apple, it's the little engine that could. It's trying to balance this out, but I think we might be asking too much of it at this point. Edit as crossing up. Are these ever gonna see? It's just not working. Wherever Trading View did, they basically broke their alert system. Why did that take so long? We sat there for like 10 full seconds to see what the fuck it would do. Whatever this quote unquote update was, they should undo it because the colors now suck and the alerts are working half the time, why would they roll out a big update that is clearly not what they mean it to be? And they do that on, I don't know, the most important trading week that we've had in absolutely months. Like, what kind of business decision is that they're like, yeah, we're going to roll this out and hopefully it just works. We don't know. Like, someone said Tesla is jumping off a cliff. Yeah, Tesla's getting hit too. Even Microsoft started to turn there. Broadcom's getting hit. Semiconductors are getting hit now. Nvidia had such a downward movement that now other things are following suit. Meta puked, but tried to bounce back up to 670. Palantir's at an intraday low. Broadcom's at an intraday low. Apple is the only real strong one. Tesla intraday low. MSTR, coin might be snapping here. Watch 280. Amazon try to bounce. Google's not really doing anything. Bonds are not doing anything. Folks, this just might be the calm before the storm, you know? Man. The only thing that it seems like people are interested in getting is Apple, which on the day it's still red, but it has a nice intraday push to the upside. The other big popular names, Microsoft got hit at open, Nvidia is actively getting hit, and then Tesla's also actively getting hit. This is very tech specific. The other sectors are actually looking pretty decent. For example, energy looking good, financials looking great, utilities looking good, industrials looking good, healthcare looking good, consumer staples looking good, consumer discretionary not doing anything, real estate is actually looking bad. What do we have? Materials looking good. The only sector truly having an issue this morning is tech. Like the other sectors are looking good. This is a very tech specific type of reaction. It's just tech that's showing this weakness. The rest of the world, I mean, the Russell is still in the green. The Russell was doing great. Small caps looking good. Like things were looking solid. All I can tell you is watch this flow. One of these is wrong because the SPY is holding strong all day while tech is going down all day. Either the market is going to start to agree with tech and we plummet, or tech is going to improve and look like the overall market. But right now, it's just a giant mismatch. It's just a giant mismatch. And when you have a huge mismatch between things that should be highly correlated, you kind of just have to wait. If you have a position, you have to pray that you're on the right one, but we're inherently just simply waiting here to see which way things go. If you want to get a little bit creative with it, you can maybe in the afternoon watch that trend line on the Qs. Maybe it recovers. The SPY is a little bit easier to see. Why is this not working? Something like that. So we have a downward trend line. So you could look for the SPY to try to break it. You could look for the Qs to try to break it. But I'm telling you, for that to happen and to be a confident like trend reversal trade, you're gonna want to see the options flow pick up. Because if not, if it keeps going negative for so long, it's not going to be that long before the SPY actually tilts. The SPY is doing everything in its power to like save this bounce. And yes, we are at major support, but now there's major upside resistance. We'll just call it 6062 is the big upside resistance, which happens to be the intraday high. So if this were to break out and you're trying to get in and out of a trade before the announcement, that'd probably be the play. Your risk would be whatever the recent low is, and your target would be pretty much the intraday high, maybe like just below it or something like that, just because this is currently how the options market is setting up right here. Huge support at 6050, which actually we're a little bit above it right now, so it still should act as support. But then I would be cutting these two regions in half, and I'd be calling roughly like 6061, 6062 if you're trading SPX. But be careful. If this were to snap 6050, quickly check and see what the options flow is looking like in the Mag 7 or just overall tech, because that's been by far the suspect thing of the day. By far, that's the suspect thing of the day. Baba's going crazy. Baba had really good earnings, but remember, Baba just doesn't have that big of an overall impact on the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. So individually, it's doing well. It had really good earnings, similar to ASML. ASML intraday is not looking the best, but it is up 4%. It had really good earnings. So it's giving back some of that gap up. But I mean, if Baba had the weight, like the market weight as like Microsoft, we'd be looking great because Baba is not only a nice gap up, but it's up 5% and it's looking strong. So I wish it weighed more at this moment in time because that would make the bleeding feel a little bit less painful. Alas, this is where we are. Oh, Nvidia, absolutely horrible session for it. Even Tesla. No, Tesla's showing a little bit of a bounce right now, but some of this stuff is just so painful. Apple, maybe still trying to cruise along. I would like for it to cruise along. Microsoft, I would love for Microsoft to pick up, but we have some pretty serious culprits. Broadcom getting hit, Nvidia getting hit, Tesla getting hit like that. It's hard to have a really solid, nice bullish day when some of the biggest weightings in the SPY and in the Qs are getting so destroyed. It's just tough. So As I alluded to before the start of the show, at the start of the show, at market open, I think it is best to think of today as two completely different days. You have from 9:30 to 2 and then from 2 onward. And the reason I say that is because from 9:30 to 2, you're going to have vol stay elevated because of just like it's going to be stable. It's not going to fall off until this afternoon. Like there's just going to be no real vol crush until after that 2 p.m. announcement. So what you're going to have driving the market right now is options flow, and it seems to be uniquely pinned to the tech options flow. That seems to be like really the driver of the day, and it seems like there's unique weakness in the semiconductors. That's what you're paying attention to. After 2 p.m., that's when you just watch the overall market. We're going to go from like an equity focused thing to an overall indice focused thing after 2 p.m. because I mean, I'm going to stream it. I hope to see you guys there, but I will be streaming not only the Fed rate announcement at 2 p.m., but also Jerome Powell's speech at 2:30. So we'll probably start at like 1:45, something like that, a couple minutes before the actual Fed rate announcement comes out. And that'll be really, even though it's the second half of the day, it's really like its own whole thing. So it's gonna get wild. Gonna get absolutely wild. What do we have? What is your bet after 2 p.m. long or short? I mean, it's fun to bet, but please understand your odds are 50-50. It's 50-50. I'm right now, because I'm so absurdly biased to the long side. I have a bunch of calls. I'm long futures. Like I have a lot of bullish positions on, so I want it to react in a positive way, to be completely honest. So if I had a 50-50 guess, yeah, I'm gonna guess up. I'm gonna guess in the way that I want it to go. But please, it's a 50-50 shot. A 50-50 shot. Oh, come on. Let's recover. Let's just fucking go. Let's just go. Ooh. Maybe we're getting a trend line test. I don't know if we're actually going to get it. Dude, see this alert once again. Now, what did trading do to their fucking alerts, dude? I'm just getting pissed off at everything today because I'm down on my position. Don't mind me. It's because I'm angry at myself. But like, that is fucking stupid that they somehow broke their alert system. Like, how is this not working? There we go. That took so awkwardly long. I had to redo the alert, move it, set it back, and then it worked. The fact that they released that on this fucking week is the most insane thing. What do you think will cause an upturn? Rate cut? What? They're not going to change the rate. We're not getting a rate cut or a rate hike. The rate's going to remain the same. That is like, I can literally say that with a 99.5% accuracy. A 99.5% accuracy that we are getting no rate change. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of mainstream media or what the hell it is, but remember, at most FOMC meetings, historically, there's actually no rate change. Like, that's the third option, is leaving the rate constant. And if you look at all of the FOMC meetings, all of the Fed interest rate decisions, that is statistically the most common thing to do, is to not change the rate whatsoever. That's why it gets a little bit more exciting when you either jack up the rate or you start to cut it. But with literally 99.5% accuracy, they are not changing the rate today. It's not. What's going to move the market is Jerome Powell's prepared remarks. And on top of that, how he responds to the questions from all the reporters about really his relationship with Trump and how he sees things going in the next couple months of like jacking up the rate, cutting it, all that stuff. That's what's going to be moving the market. The last time around, we had dude, look at that perfect smack, literally to the cent. It came up to that trend line and just got destroyed. And now we broke that 6050. There is support down here at 6040 if this sell-off gets bad. Once again, price is overreacting. Yeah, options took a little bit of a turn, but price is so dramatically overreacting. So dramatically overreacting. And it's just this Mag 7. Fuck, dude. Well, it's a classic painful FOMC day. A very classic, very painful FOMC day. We're going to have to see how this one really gets going. I would love for Nvidia to get back above 125. Would love for that to happen. Would love for the Qs to get above this 1009 high. Would love for the SPY to get above their 1009 high, which is the intraday. Basically, I'm looking for us to return to where we were around 1010. That would be some welcome strength. But right here, it's just the littlest hits in options cause such an overreaction in price. And that was actually a bigger one on the SPY, but even this, like the Mag 7, just taking this hit. Anyway, before I saw that drop, what I was talking about was the last FOMC meeting, December 18th, which had such a uniquely outlier negative response. And the reason for that is because we got commentary from Jerome Powell that did not align with what we saw in the SEP, the Summary of Economic Projections. So in the Summary of Economic Projections, they basically said, hey, we think inflation might go up a little bit, but we don't think unemployment's going to be really that bad, and we think GDP is going to be fine. But then in Jerome Powell's speech, he kept talking about how like the labor market's really soft. And they're like, well, hang on. If you think the labor market's really soft, why do you only think unemployment is going to go up a little bit? Are you lying about unemployment? And you really do think unemployment's going to go up more than all the voting members voted for, and then yet you think inflation's going to go up as well, as in that might create a situation where instead of cutting rates, you actually might have to jack rates back up once again to fight inflation. So the whole thing got really messy, and that's why not only was it a bearish reaction at that Wednesday, December 18th meeting, but it was like an abnormally large bearish reaction because the market as a whole was basically like, we think you are lying. Like, we think you're telling the truth that you predict inflation is going to go back up. But their expectation of unemployment just came in like way comically. Like, everyone's like, you're so full of it. And he was literally contradicting himself in the speech about related to the labor market, specifically how soft it is and the unemployment. So anyway, that's why the last one, once again, check it out on your charts, Wednesday, December 18th, was so uniquely bad because the market was basically telling Powell that like they think he's full of shit. This time around, we're actually not going to get an SEP. What I'm referring to, the Summary of Economic Projections, where we could see all the voting members and where they think things are going to go. That only comes out every other FOMC meeting. So since we got it in the last FOMC meeting, we're not going to be getting it this time around. So this time around, there's no report for us to really dive into. At 2 p.m., there's going to be a written statement from the Fed that's saying, hey, we're not going to change rates. And maybe we get a little bit of information on like, was it unanimous or not? But then from there, there's going to be no SEP for us to dive into and be like, okay, like where do they vote? How do they see things change? They only do that every other meeting. So from there, there's going to be a generic reaction at 2 p.m. And then really what's going to send the market haywire is what Jerome Powell does or doesn't say. There's no SEP this time around. So I just want to let you guys know that most likely relative to last one, we're going to have less sizable of a reaction. I feel confident in that. Obviously, I want the reaction to be bullish, but that's just because I have a lot of bullish positions on right now because I thought I was bullish last week. I thought the sell-off on Monday was complete bullshit. So that I'm continuing with my bullish bias, but I'm not really here to predict is the reaction going to be bullish or not. I'm biased. I want it to be bullish, but I don't really have a fancy schmancy model that like gives me like high odds of predicting which way it's going to go. I think Jerome Powell is well-spoken enough that he doesn't want to say things he knows are going to push the market down. Obviously, especially because last time the market really got hit. So from a game theory, just like psychology standpoint, I don't think Jerome Powell is that interested in rhetoric or speech that pushes down the market 2 times in a row dramatically. This is getting into the point of like really not even market related. It's literally just like psychology, I suppose. I don't think he's the most interested in that. So I think there is a little bit more of a chance to the upside because he knows that his words last time around caused kind of like a historic, 2-hour sell-off. So I think that's going to be important when considering what he says. And I also don't think he necessarily wants to rock the boat. I think I'm betting that a lot of the rhetoric is, nope, I'm going to work well with Trump. We're on the same page. I'm going to explain to him where I'm at. He's going to explain to me where he's at. I think he's going to try to position himself that he has a very strong relationship, a very workable relationship with Trump. That's my prediction on this, but it's just, I don't know. What I would like to happen, the optimal solution to me would be Powell comes out, as Lemon is saying here. I think you're spot on. I think if Powell comes out boring as fuck, that's going to be good for the market. I think the market right now is really hesitant because of the amount of uncertainty of about what's to go down. So if Powell can remove all that uncertainty by just being boring, by coming up there and saying the same thing we've heard 80 times before of, nope, I'm not gonna, like, we are here, we take in data, we have our models, we put the data into the models tell us what to do. We are not veering from that path. We think that the economy looks strong, but we're not gonna take our foot off the throat of inflation just yet because it's not the appropriate thing to do. I want that motherfucker to repeat the exact same thing that he's told to us 80 times before and bore us to death. Because if he's boring as fuck, uncertainty is removed and the market goes back up on the path that we've already been going up on. That's ideal, but I guess a boy can dream. I don't know if that's going to happen. Powell always kills the market. Statistically, that's not true at all. I don't know where you're getting that. That seems like an emotionally charged thing, but literally that the reality of the situation is that's not true. Most of Powell's speeches, with a slight edge, actually do favor the bulls. I'm not saying it's an absurdly, it's not 90% of the time. I think it's around 55, 60% of the time there's more of a bullish reaction than a bearish reaction when he talks. So that, Powell always kills the market. That's actually just not accurate. Just not accurate. Okay. Little pre-Powell pump, maybe trend line bounce. We're just right at that key level. Once again, GexBot is making it pretty clear how important this level is. Remember, this is support. The teal is reactionary while the purple is passive. The only time you're really paying attention to purple is when it's large, like for example, 60-30 or maybe even 60-75. So you're paying attention to the large purple, which is generally, if it's small, it's just passive. And then you're paying attention to the teal, medium, or large. But teal, look for the reaction. Purple, you're looking for passive. So we have big support here at 60.50 and even support here at 60.45 because it's just so sizable. And then I would look forward to ideally cut through 60.55. And I want to see that reaction at 60.60. But please understand, there is resistance there. Also at 60.65. Also at 60.70. That's a lot of resistance right here. Now, if it can get above it, it'll turn into support, but just to kind of lay out the levels we're seeing. And 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th time it was smacked at the trend line. It's just, every single time it tries to get going, you know what's getting hit? Nvidia is getting hit. Tesla's getting hit. The same things that have been walked down literally all day are just continuing to get hit. Every single time we see a potential reversal. Here's a look at the Mag 7 options flow. It's not at the lowest reading of the day, but it's pretty darn close. Here's a look at the S&P 500. It popped up until about 10:30, and now we're flat. Every single time there's a little bit hit to options, there's an outsized reaction in price. So like here, a little bit of a dip in options, outsized reaction in price. That's the current mode we're in. And even this, right when it bounces back, it's already bouncing back, but do you know what's not bouncing back? Price. So what time is it? It's just past 11 right now, folks. It's just going to be 3 hours of chop bullshit. And then really the next party gets going at 2 p.m. It gets going at 2 p.m. So with that being said, good luck. Keep yourself safe for right now. I will be streaming this whole thing. We're going to be streaming again right before 2 p.m. So the Fed interest rate decision comes out at 2 p.m. Jerome Powell speaks at 2:30. Obviously, I'll be filming that entire thing. And then if the market's absolutely nuts, I'll just film all the way until market close. That's the plan. So I appreciate you stopping by right now, but I'll see you in a couple hours. Go get yourself a coffee. Go get yourself some lunch. Just make sure to not be like me and do stupid things in this intraday action because it's just choppy BS. Absolutely choppy BS. So make sure to turn on your notifications because we will be streaming in a couple hours. And obviously, if you want to trade through this but minimize your risk, that's exactly what Take Profit Trader is there for you. If you use that code Goonie, you will be getting 40% off. And on top of that, you're going to be getting the deal with the no daily loss limit rule, making your trading that much easier. So check them out. Pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. That's what I have for you right now. I'll see you in a couple hours. Love you all. Peace.